DreAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve is yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, we're not done. You get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go make things happen instead of wait for things to happen. And then we put all this together into several different frameworks, mindsets, strategies. Everything coming back to accountability, everything coming back to the main person being you. All of this under one umbrella. We got a bunch of books as well, all under one umbrella that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is why you don't need to be famous. Why you don't need everybody to know your name. Why you don't need to be a super influencer. Why you don't need these things. Now, I'm not saying it is necessarily wrong to want to be that or to be it if you already are famous. And we got any famous people who are listening to this. But I'm going to make the argument for maybe why you might not want to, and how you can still fulfill yourself and get everything that you want out of your business and out of your life. So hear me out on this. Now, before I get to that, let me tell everybody that I have a text message line from which I send a daily motivation text every single morning to everyone who's in my texting community. So if you want to receive my daily motivation text, all you have to do is hit me with a quick text right now. Just say hello at 305-384-6894. Once you have texted me there and we confirm you, you'll be in my text community. You'll get that daily motivation. And that is my text line. So every day I take some time out and I reply to the text that I have received. If anyone has asked me a question or shared a challenge, I'll go ahead and reply to those texts. So you can text me there, not only for the daily motivation, but also if you have a question, challenge, something you want to share, you can text it with me. You can text with me there at that number. It is also down below in the show notes. So today's topic, again, why you don't need to be famous. Now, when I say fame here, it could be on a macro level, like you walk through the mall and you need security because everybody's rushing to get your autograph or to touch you or take a picture with you. Or it could be on a micro level, such as being an online influencer. You have an audience of people who just know your name and know your face. Today, I'm going to make the argument for why you may not need either of these to create success and or fulfillment in your life. Because I think one of the main things that draws some people to aim for the fame. Now, some people, they just become famous, they weren't even trying to. Because maybe they just liked modeling, or they liked singing, or they liked painting, or whatever they were doing, and just a bunch of people took to it to the point that they just became famous and they weren't even trying. And then there are others who actually are going and aiming for it and trying to become the most known person in the room for whatever reason. And I think some people who are in that latter group who are aiming for the fame, they're aiming for all the attention, it is because maybe these people feel like they will get fulfillment from going after that they'll feel more whole as a person, they'll feel more complete if they're able to get that attention from the outside world. So that idea right there was actually inspired by an article I read by an author by the name of Tim Ferriss, who's the author of the 4-Hour series of books. I've mentioned Tim before. If you haven't read his books, I most significantly suggest the 4-Hour Work Week. That was a very pivotal business book for me. And he has some other 4-hour books and some other books that he's written, but that one is the one that I like the most. And Tim is a guy who is more known than I am, and he wrote about this from his own perspective. He wrote an article just explaining to people why, hey, maybe you don't want to be that famous, and he gave his own points. I think it was maybe 10 points that he was listing out there. You can look up that article and read it for yourself. I thought of the same topic based on Tim's article, but more based on how much people want to build an audience and have followers, but they haven't thought out what else comes with that, audience, or what else they want really besides followers. Because anyone who's on social media probably wants to have more followers than they have, but some people don't always think about what comes with that. There's a package deal that comes with all this stuff. As we talked about in episode 1663, that there is always a shit sandwich that you're going to have to eat. And sometimes, people just go straight into doing what they want to do without thinking about that shit sandwich that they're going to have to eat. Even being known comes with a shit sandwich. So that's what we're going to talk about here today. What comes with that, and maybe how you can still get the things that you want, the success, the fulfillment, however you define those phrases, without everybody knowing your name. Because again, maybe it's not the best thing. Let me explain. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is why you don't need to be famous. If one of your aims for gaining fame is so you can do more business, you have basically just drawn the equation in your mind that if more people know about me, then that means I can tell more people about my products and services and offerings. Therefore, I can sell more products and services and offerings. Therefore, I have more money. Therefore, I can do more of what I want to do in life. Understand something. While that equation is not necessarily false, is not necessarily guaranteed, just because you're known does not necessarily mean you're going to get a whole bunch of money that comes with it, no matter how you try to leverage it. Not necessarily, because I just told you, it wasn't too long ago, it was the episode where I told you how you can monetize attention. Episode 1511, I told you about the art of drawing attention. And then episode number 1850, I gave you 3 strategies to cut through the fat and get attention. And then in episode 1920, I told you how to turn attention into revenue. Because just because a whole bunch of people are paying attention to you does not mean a whole bunch of people are going to buy something from you. Those are 2 different things. Because to sell people something, you have to give them something for them. If people are paying attention to you, it might be because of something that you did that's for you, but it's not for them. So those are 2 different things. So make sure you listen to episode 1920 about how to turn attention into revenue. So if a million people started following you right now today, could you monetize that million sets of eyeballs? Could you monetize all that attention and actually make money off of it if you wanted to? Are you prepared to do that right now? It's something for you to think about. But anyway, my point here, number 1, is if your reason for wanting to gain a lot of attention is so you can make money, understand you can make a lot of money without anybody knowing who you are. You can make a lot of money by staying quiet and relatively low profile. Also, understand that your business, whatever it's going to be, need not be about you personally. Now, while my business is about me, I am in the thought leadership world. I sell my intellectual property. My brand is about me as a person and my personality. But there are many business owners who I know. Some of them colleagues of mine, some people in business masterminds of mine. Some of them have been clients of mine. Some of them have been at my events. They read my books. I know many business owners who make their money in their business, but they are not a known individual. They wouldn't walk in a room and everybody say, oh, that's the person who did this. People don't know them for that. Even though their business is known, they're not known. So in episode 1391, I told you how to build a business before you build a brand. Sometimes your personal fame and your business can go together, such as if you're in the thought leadership world or you want to be an influencer, then your personal, the amount of attention that you gain and the money that you make, they kind of go hand in hand. Or you think of somebody like a movie star, like a Brad Pitt or Jennifer Aniston, their fame as a person and the jobs that they get offered usually are connected. There's a linear relationship. Or somebody like an author. Your name is on all your books. You do the speaking gigs based on your books. People know who you are. But other times in life, it's not like that at all. You could have a company with a brand name out there and you have your, let's say your logo and your brand, but it doesn't have your name or face on it. People don't even know who the owner is of the company. You're the owner and you're making plenty of money, but nobody knows exactly who you are. You could go to a rally for your company and everybody's so happy about the company and they're wearing the gear that you created, but they don't even know you're the one who created it. You could walk through the whole crowd, nobody even know you're you. All right, you can do that as well. And remember, something that I've told you many times here, especially in the episodes where we were talking about for influencers, that followers do not necessarily equal customers. All right, having a bunch of followers does not mean that you have customers. In episode 1862, the topic was, if you want to be a creator or an influencer, listen to this now. In episode 1400, the title was Fuck All Influencers. Listen to that one. That was an interesting conversation that I had with the audience on that episode. And again, episode 1862 was the one where I talked about for creators and influencers. And then, not too much later, if I can remember what episode it was, the episode where I told you there's no such thing as an underpaid entrepreneur. That was episode 1878, just a couple weeks later. So make sure you check those out. And a follower, remember something, everybody, when someone's following you on the internet, they are, at that point, they're freeloading. They're loading up on whatever you're giving away for free. And that's why they're following you on that social media platform. Not everybody who follows you is going to buy something from you. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is why you don't need to be famous. Everything in life has a trade-off or a shit sandwich, as we talked about in 1863. Now, if you want a lot of followers or you want to have a big email list, that's fine. Now, the question is, this is the follow-up question that goes with that, do you want all of those people, those followers or those email subscribers, do you want all those people wanting a piece of you? Do you want to have that many people all in your business? Do you want that many people knowing who you're in a relationship with, where you live, what kind of car you drive, what you're doing every day, who else is following you, who you're cool with, asking you questions about stuff that they shouldn't be asking about? Do you want that? Because the more people you have paying attention to you, the more likelihood that you're going to run into these type of people. All right. Do you like having random weirdos who won't stop messaging you and trying to get in touch with you for reasons unknown? Do you like that? Because the more followers you have, the more likely you're going to run into that. So I personally have run into that. I'm not a super duper famous influencer, but I am on the scene, and my name is known and my face is known, and people know that I live in Miami and have a rough idea of some of the things that I do. I run into some weirdos, and you think of someone who has an audience that's 100 times the size of mine, how many weirdos you think they're running into? So as you increase in your fame and the attention that you're getting, understand that just by the law of averages, you're going to run into some weirdos, you're going to run into some trolls, you're going to run into people who just won't leave you alone, people who want to be all in your business, people who want a lot more than what you're actually offering. This is all part of the game, the more human beings that you deal with. Because people are just people, and not all of us are the same. I mean, just think about in your own life, even those of you who are listening to this who are not even aiming to do anything that I'm talking about here. How many weirdos have you run into in life? How many people have you run into who are just like, what the hell is wrong with this person? Who raised this individual? Have you ever run into somebody like that? Well, the more known you are, the more likely you're going to run into another one and another one and another one, simply because this is how it goes. Humans are humans. The more known you are, the more people who will want to be around you and know as much as they can about what you're doing, or they just want to be involved with someone who has that attention and influence, or they want to see how they can get a piece of you or a piece of what you're doing for themselves. Tim mentioned this in his article, and I can see it myself. And Tim's audience, again, is multiple times the size of my audience. Tim even talked about how at one point he had a stalker. He had a person who found out where he lived, like his actual address, where he lived. And Tim's not a guy who, even somebody like myself, you look at my Instagram posts and my Instagram story, I share a lot about the neighborhoods that I'm in, where I'm walking around, where I'm going, where I eat and things like that. Tim doesn't do any of that stuff, but even he, because his audience being so big, again, I told you, you're going to run into a weirdo. You run into enough people, some of them is going to be weirdos. He had a guy who found out his actual address, his actual home where he lived, and was stalking him at his house. And he had to get the police involved. He said he had a middle-aged woman who was threatening to kill him, and she wasn't identifying as a woman when she was reaching out. She was reaching out as like seemingly a man who was going to do something to him when he went to a certain event that everybody knew he was going to be speaking at. And the FBI got involved, and they found out that it was this middle-aged woman for whatever reason. People are just crazy. He also told me, not me, but he told a story of how he had a reader who sent him a personalized video. And the reader was on the video talking about, yeah, man, because Tim has been open about how he has gone through, in his youth, he went through sexual abuse. And he also talked about how he had dealt with issues of contemplating suicide in his youth. And he had a guy who, I guess, connected with that message of dealing with the suicide thoughts and sent this personalized message to Tim. And he's telling Tim, man, I've been going through stuff too, like you talked about. And at this point, I figured, I can't deal with it anymore. And this, Tim says this in an article. The guy on camera goes and kills himself on camera, on the video that he sent to Tim Ferriss. And Tim said, that fucked me up for a very long time when that happened. And Tim's point, the reason he shared that was to say, you get enough people in your audience, it's inevitable that you're going to run into people who may do things like that. So understand, this is one of the trade-offs that you get, the more people who know who you are, that you're going to run into these people who are just going to do stuff that you can't explain, which we talked about in the episode on human nature just a few days ago. Point number 3, today's topic once again is why you may not want to be famous. Number 3, just being known does not necessarily equal what you may really want in your life. And what you really want might be happiness, security, or money. You don't need to be known to get any of those things. You might think that's the only way to get there, but it's not the only way to get there. In episode 1920, as I referenced earlier, I told you how to turn attention into revenue. If 100,000 new people heard about you today, the question is, could you leverage that attention and turn it into money? Could you? 100,000 people were looking at you right now. You got 30 seconds to tell them anything you want to tell them. How could you leverage that into money? What could you get out of it? How could you make that work? it actually, if you really think about it, paradoxically, getting a whole bunch of new people to pay attention to you, and now you have to tend to this audience, could actually take you away from things that could deliver the stuff that you want, like happiness and peace and security, like family time, like serenity, time to focus on things and people who actually do make you money. It might not be any of those people who are paying attention to you, because who knows what's the reason why they came after you in the first place? What's the reason why they came to know you in the first place? Is it because of something that you were offering for sale? Maybe it's something that you did. Maybe you did a funny dance on TikTok. Who knows? Maybe some politician mentioned you. Who knows why these people came to know you in the first place? If they came to know you for something that isn't necessarily connected to how you make money, then how could you leverage it? And so if money is the thing that you're after, and I'm using money here as an example simply because in the Western world, we all value what other people have, and we value people based on what we think they have. Knowing this, is that something that you could actually leverage if you did have the attention? If you can't answer the question, then my follow-up question will be, why do you want it? So this is something for you to consider, something to marinate on when it comes to any of you out there who is looking to be more known, get more followers, have more people know your name and know your face. The question is why? Let's recap today's class. Why you don't need to be famous. Number one, this can be, again, not number one. This can be fame on a macro level, micro level. So today I'm going to argue as to why you may not need fame or influence in order to create success and or fulfillment in your life. Point number one. If your reason is it's going to be connected to business, it's just that the more people know you, logically speaking, you're saying more people will be able to buy from you. That is possible, but it's also possible you can make a lot of money without anybody knowing your name. And understand that your business does not need to personally be about you. See episode 1391, build a business before you build a brand. Point number two. Everything in life has a trade-off, a shit sandwich that you're going to have to eat. So if you want a lot of people knowing who you are, understand that means a lot of people are going to want something from you. A lot of people are going to want to be in your business. A lot of people are going to want to know where you're at and what you're doing. And eventually you're going to run into some weirdos simply because there are weirdos out there in the world. So the bigger your audience is, just by the law of averages, you're going to get some weirdos in that group. This is just how it works. Point number three. Being known does not necessarily equal what you really want, which might be money, security, or happiness. See episode 1920 on turning attention into revenue. If 100,000 new people heard about you right now today, are you prepared to leverage that attention and turn it into actual money? It may take you away from the things that could give you the stuff you want, like time, peace, serenity, and focus on things and people who actually do make you money and do produce what you want in life. So think about this. Any of you who's looking to become more known and you want more people knowing your name, what's the reason why you want it? I don't think you want it just to have it. You want it because there's something that you could actually get out of it. But understand that that equation that you have in your mind may not be the only way to get there. Send me a text and tell me best thing you got from this class, or just text me hello if you want to get my daily motivation text. My number is 305-384-6894. Any of you who is looking to build your brand, strategically build your brand. So yes, we're going to get you some followers and get you known, but there's a strategy behind it and what you're actually going to do with it. You want to get your brand out there. You're trying to turn your knowledge into something that you can sell. In other words, also known as intellectual property. And you just want someone who can help hold you accountable, help you make a strategy, help answer your questions, and give you the skills and the tools and the direction that you need to actually make it real. Then you might be a good candidate for my 3rd day mastermind. So go to workonyourgameuniversity.com/call. Link is down below in the show notes. And sign up for a quick Zoom call with me. We'll talk about where you're at, where you want to go, what's the bridge between those two, what you're about right now, and how it could possibly help you get there. Work on your game. Dre, all